18 inches is the average distance between your head and your heart. Some of you might lose your business because that distance is too far.
Your stories, your experiences can change it all. Let's fight failure together. We can defeat 90.
The 18-inch journey I'm talking about for getting like thoughts and ideas and logic from your head to your belief system is not something you actually hear about very much in business. But yet it's actually more appropriate and more apparent that something we need to speak about than we do. Let's take, for instance, like, I don't know, you guys like sports. Tony Robbins has been known for decades helping athletes get the head junk out of themselves and get back to their belief system and being able to rooted to do the things and take the action they need to do because our beliefs affect our actions. But the thing is, we don't define that gap between knowing and believing. We don't think about it very often. We don't understand that I can know a lot of things about business. I can understand a lot of things, but if I don't practically get it to where I'm actually living it out, that creates a very, very big problem in how we conduct our life. Are you missing some part of your belief system that actually could help you be the most successful version of who you are? So why am I bringing up this pain point? Why does this even matter? Who cares about your belief system? Who cares about your mind, your thinking, all this stuff I'm talking about? Well, it comes down to this. The greatest battle you will ever face, I mean this, the greatest battle you will ever face as an entrepreneur is not your competitors, it's not customers, it's not, you name it, it's you. The greatest battle, because so much of what hinders us from being the business owner, the entrepreneur, the leader we need to be is actually the internal struggles of the things that don't align from here to how we actually move out here. So I was one of those kids that was bullied and picked on my entire life. I've been the uncool person, and I'm being very vulnerable in using this example right now because it sucks. I was a kid that was, literally pushed downstairs. Like the things that have happened to me when it comes to being bullied really affected me from a young age, to the point where there's a good portion of my younger part of my adult life, I was trying to prove everybody wrong. I can be successful. I can do this, and trying to earn and validate who I was. And I was never happy with who I was at that point. And my value I've worked through it for years, and it's still a struggle for some of the things that have been spoken and things that have been projected onto my life. And that head trash and that belief system has literally affected how I actually risk the things I do because of it hurt. Literally, I had to work through this and this to be able to do this. Here's a perfect example, because, and it still applies to this day. There's a part of me that, as you're listening to this podcast, that I have to wrestle with a little bit, that I'm not cool. Like, you see all those really cool creators out there, and you're like, oh, I want to be their friend. And I really love what they're saying. And I can name all these amazing business people out there and gurus and all this other stuff. I'm afraid that the kid that was beat up and picked on and never liked as a kid, that's the same as it is today. I have to still I know that's not true. I know that who I am and why I'm doing this is not about what you guys think or not. I'm genuinely trying to help and care for you guys. And so it doesn't even matter if you like me or don't like me, but it's still head trash. It's still a belief system that I have to overcome because of things that happened before. We all have that stuff. So this 18-inch journey that we will either go on or not go on is super, super important to our business success. So much of the time of what happens in our business is a direct reflection of how we lead and the decisions we make. Guys, let's just be realistic. Every decision you make in your business and your life has a consequence, whether that be good or bad. Our life is made up of series of decisions and consequences. And ultimately, it's our belief of who we are and our belief of how we act that portrays that. So we have to start working through. And even I can't even tell you how much stuff I understand about business. Like, for instance, being disciplined and all those things. I've talked about that over and over again ad nauseum. But it's getting that stuff and putting the systems and the things in place to counteract and for me to be able to be who I need to be in business to see things come through. But if I don't work through that journey, then it doesn't happen, and then I'm just stuck. In most cases, the breakthrough you're looking for in your business actually has to start in you. start with how you're making decisions with your employees, with how you purchase, all these other things. I've said this in one of my other videos about, I had a mentor that talked about how I asked him about the key attributes of how to be a successful entrepreneur and what that looked like. And he said that the last one, he said, the first one is have a skill, be really amazing at it, be the best at it, to never give up, never quit, keep on going. The third one was luck. And I've said that that's always ticked me off. But as I've learned and I've thought through this more and more about the idea of luck, I just heard I was listening to his other podcast, heard another billionaire talking about, look, there's a luck part of that, and which just sounds crazy. But I think luck translates into open for opportunities. If we look at our life from a positive perspective, if we are always ready and we have our self-worth and we have this place where we're looking for opportunities appear. But if we're not looking for things, if we're not looking for things to become successful, or we don't believe things will be successful, it's not this law of attraction thing. It's this just purely right time, right place, being out there and more opportunities, more things to go. If I'm looking for more things to go right, more things are going to probably go right. And I think ultimately that comes down to, again, getting this in line. And so that can have a direct impact in your business. So again, it's looking at our belief system. I think it's really important that you understand, even talking about this stuff and doing Defeat 90, like this is one of the biggest risks I've ever taken. Like I'm building this company from my savings. I don't know how long it's going to take before there's any kind of profit from this. And I'm doing it because I understand the implications of stuff like this topic. This is not like me just trying to become the next whatever. I truly believe we don't talk about this stuff. And I think to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to have a holistic approach to that. And we've talked about that. And I think this is part of that, is dealing with the things and getting this process down and working through and becoming the best version of who you could be taken care of. My goal in this journey is to be as vulnerable as possible and talk through this stuff. So in the future, as I go through my stuff, I'm going to talk through it with you guys in hopes that it can save you time, or maybe illuminate and be like, oh my gosh, I struggle with that too. I need to work on that. Because no matter who you are, unless you are perfect, and I guarantee you are not perfect, we all have head trash. We all have beliefs that need to be fixed. We have things that need to be taken care of in this journey. So in fairness, we're all on this journey. And I'm not trying to be a guru. And by the way, too, I've listened to my past videos of saying, I cannot say that word very well. I listen to them like guru. Anyways, there's another side note. But I'm not trying to say, oh, I've got this all together. No, I'm saying, guys, we can do this together. And it's really important. And yes, I've had successes in my life. And yes, I have had things that I'm not sitting here saying I'm this terribly broken person. I feel like a very healthy person. And I've gone through a lot. I've been through a lot. And my hope is to share a lot with you guys to help you in that same journey. But it's not a journey that ever stops. Learning, growing, being who you need to be. So the reason I'm talking about this is I want to give you some steps of what it takes to actually go and start this journey and how to be successful at it. Let's jump into it. So what are the parts and pieces of this 18-inch journey, at least from my opinion? Because this is just something I've heard this term before, and I was like, okay, I'm going to dive into this, look at my own life of how I've worked through the struggles and the head trash and the things, and what does it look like, and what are these core pieces of going on this journey so you can overcome the things. Because I guarantee you right now you're stuck with something. And you're like, how do I get out of this? Okay. So the first key trait is the ability to self-reflect is at the core of this journey. Sometimes we don't want to self-reflect. We don't want to look at it. We don't want to open this. We don't want to open this because it's scary. We're like, we don't want to face the things. But you can't face something you can't see. You have to bring light to it. You have to be able to look and be like, okay, this thing is broken in me. This thing is not working. Or if you have trouble self-reflecting, ask friends, ask people, okay, what are some things I could do better? What are things that are hindering me? Or look at your company. What are some things that are like, as a boss, as a manager, like get the real facts of where you could be better at things and start there and start that reflection process of going, okay, I have a tendency, not me, but I'm just saying it could be a boss where it's like I have a tendency of not being encouraging or not supportive, or people feel like I don't communicate well, or it could be all these things. So you start working on that. So if you can't identify the problem, you can't fix it. And so that's really, really important. That sounds so cliche, but it's the truth. So second thing, be teachable. So much of the time when we start diving in here and things come out and we're like, oh my gosh, what the heck is this? We can become super defensive. We can become mad at ourselves. We can become mad that people saw that in us or want to deny it or whatever. But there's this idea of being teachable means to be able to hold this thing in your hands and look at this and be like, okay, how do I fix this? How do I change this? If you're defensive about that, if you're not in a place where you can receive help and or be willing to do the work, then there's no point even starting this journey because you're just going to be stuck. So if you're going to, the only way to work through things is to be teachable and be ready to either get help or be willing to change or look and examine or try to look for another way of doing things. The next thing is you have to identify the false beliefs. The belief inside our hearts about the problem, is it correct? Is the thing, like as you identify, maybe you see this thing is a problem. Is it really a problem? Is it not a problem? Let's take the example of what I said about as far as I'm not cool. And maybe I was never not as cool as I thought. Maybe I just never found the group that connected with me. And so I took this belief because I didn't fit in with this group, the people I was surrounded with, as like I was a problem. Maybe if I would have been in a different high school at a different time, that I would have been cool. And so, but I've taken that I wasn't cool and I've applied it throughout my life. And it's put me in a position to where it's caused other behaviors that come out because of that. So I have to take that false belief and start getting to the root and start looking at it again. Okay, there's other ways of perceiving this. What false beliefs need to be changed? And some of this is stuff we've been taught. There's been plenty of things in business I've learned from people that I'm like, okay, that's not the proper way of handling that. That's not how you deal with conflict, or that's not how, and you start having this real conversation about your beliefs. So the next part is as you start identify the problem, you're identifying the false beliefs of how it got there and what's happening with it. Now you have to start realizing, okay, how do I make a plan? How do I change this? And start diving into, you need to find, if you don't understand how to fix a problem, find help. Maybe it's a counselor, maybe it's a pastor, maybe a good friend that's wise. Start looking for how to get the solutions. Once you get the idea of the solution of how to start working through this thing, then put a plan in place to actually start evaluating, start looking at how to move forward as you're doing this work between here and here. And some of that might be like, for me, like realizing, there are some parts about me that maybe aren't cool, but there's a lot of things that are really cool about who I am, and I can embrace those. And I can also give myself grace for, like I said, maybe I just was in the wrong place. I didn't find my people. And as I've grown older, I have found more of my people. And I hope I can find people in here on YouTube or wherever it is, or podcast, wherever it is, that understand and get me and resonate. And we can help each other grow and make a difference in the world. This next part is really, really important because some of you are looking at this, go in, you find this junk and this thing's head trash or the stuff in your heart, and you're like, oh my gosh, these false beliefs. You're overwhelmed. You feel like making a plan seems premature because you're just like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to face this. So this next thing is build hope for the future you want. So this is basically saying, okay, this is who I want. This is what this person looks like. This is actions. This is character traits. And start trying to realize I can build up and I can be this person. Clearly define that, write some details, and or also in that future, start giving yourself more credit and start, as you're doing that first part of this, start writing down your strengths. Things that are great, things that align with who you already are, that align with where and who and what you want to accomplish in the future. And start trying to build the hope inside. No, this is possible. To go back to the plan and realize, no, I can do this. This can happen. Hope is a really powerful tool for reaching goals. That hope has to start in you. No one can give you that hope. Like, people can encourage you. People can say things they can say. But ultimately, there's a point where you have to start trying to have hope. When it comes to anything, we can try and fail. But ultimately what that is we really talk about, that's practice. That's practice. You are practicing. And eventually, as you practice something more, you get better at it. So yes, you might suck at it even longer than you think you should suck at it. But if you have the hope, if you have the plan, if you have the realization of what you want, that practice is worth it. And that's part of the journey, right? The other thing too is in that plan, as you start getting this stuff, is to create a practical habit of like I said, don't train to be able to support this new lifestyle of what you're wanting. With the plan, you can, and the hope, you can have this place of starting making better decisions. Like I said in the very beginning, we are the sum total of the decisions we make. So every time you make a better decision towards your why, your hope, your purpose, you can celebrate that by making habits that are tied to that, or creating a support system, a thing around being who you want to be is really, really important. And then when it's all said and done, the last step is, because we're going to always find more things in our life if we're being honest with ourselves that we need to work on and we need to get this fixed. Just continue to repeat it, continue to do it. Now, granted, this sounds more like a help session. I don't know, like counseling. I don't even know. I hesitated almost to creating this episode because I'm not a counselor. I'm not any of these things. And this is stuff I have pulled out that I've learned as I've been on this journey, this 18-inch journey of fixing things and growing and changing and maturing and getting to health. So take it or leave it. If all you take away from this, if you think all this is junk, all I can say is at the end of this video is that we are the sum of our choices. And you are the biggest hurdle in your way of achieving your dream. So whatever it is you have to do, whatever the process looks like, whatever you need to do to win inside here, to be who you need to be, to live the life you want, do that thing. And I want to say to you, if you've been through trauma, if you've been through really, really tough things, and they're really hard, then seriously reach out to a professional that can help you work through things. Counseling is amazing. It's been a huge part of helping me in my life and my journey of the things I've gone through, because I've gone through a lot of things. And just know there's people that care about you. No matter where you're at in life, there's people, there's even strangers that care about you, that see you as being valuable. I care about you. I want to see you succeed in your life. And so again, I know this really seems like not relevant to business, but you being the best version of yourself will help you have the best version of your business, and be holistically healthy is so important to your future. So with that being said, hey, if you liked what you've seen, and do the whole YouTube thing, comment, like, all that stuff. I know I have to do that because it's a call to action or whatever. But ultimately, I hope that I'm going to create enough value through the conversation I have with you, or the conversations I have with the interviews that I do, that you want to share this, that you want to engage with it, that you want to support what we're doing at Defeat 90. Because together, we can defeat 90.